What do the films Fiddler on the Roof, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and Bend It Like Beckham have in common? These three films address the challenges that ethnic and religious groups face in a melting pot modern world. Can rich traditions adapt and thrive in a society that struggles to maintain minority identities? I think of these films and others as I ponder the state and future of the American Jewish community here in 2022. Can we Jews be fully integrated in American culture, including professional sports, like Jess and Bend It Like Beckham, who is a Sikh athlete? Are loving and boisterous but sometimes stifling families the answer to Jewish continuity, like they were in Tula's loud and large, very nosy family in My Big Fat Greek Wedding? And we all know Fiddler very well. That brings up these issues and more, but ends with the age-old question: can we Jews ever escape anti-Semitism? Like most religious communities here in America, we Jews are in flux right now. Technology, pandemic, and other factors are combining to literally change how we live our lives day to day and how we worship and practice our religion. Will the next generation to come of age in the middle of the 21st century be Jewish? Will they be part of a community? Will they be upholding our age-old tradition? Will synagogues, JCCs, and other brick and mortar organizations that were the bulwark of the 20th century continue to be centers of Jewish community into the middle of the 21st? If we quote the right statistics, we can paint a bleak picture of a Jewish community in steep decline, with people supposedly giving up their Judaism and their involvement in activism in the Jewish community. Yet I am generally optimistic for the future of Judaism for our own community here in Great Neck and in Temple, Israel. And why am I so optimistic? Because if we focus on our Jewish pride and, yes, maintain allies and friendships with powerful people to combat and quell anti-Semitism, then we will continue to thrive into the 21st century. What do I mean by Jewish pride? Temple Israel's own mission statement has an answer. Temple Israel strives to be a place where everyone is welcome to discover Judaism's power to bring blessing and meaning to our lives. Essentially, why should a person bother being Jewish in 2022? Because it brings blessing and goodness to your own life. And yes, makes the world a better place. The more we are all proud to be Jewish, the more our young adults and generations to come will also be proud and will take up the tradition. We can be proud Jews by visiting and supporting Israel. I would like to add another transgression to our machzor. Forgive us on this Yom Kippur for really underappreciating how special it is for all of us to be alive while the state of Israel is not just in existence, but is thriving. Israel literally fulfills our dreams of being Jewish citizens on planet Earth, where we count, where we can defend ourselves and stand proud as Jews. We have a place to live freely as our Jewish selves. Birthright is finally back at full speed. And fortunately, a good number of our young people went on trips this summer. I was able to speak to many of them upon their return. And one of them said, Rabbi Schweber, I had the most amazing time in Israel. What did you like about it? Everywhere I went, people were Jewish. One Friday, we went to Shuk Machane Yehuda, and every single shopkeeper wished us Shabbat Shalom. I took a cab home to get ready for Shabbat. The cabbie wished me Shabbat Shalom. Jews were everywhere. In Israel, Judaism literally permeates the air and the soil. Think about it. Even here in Great Neck, we live our Judaism much more reserved and internal. Go to Everfresh, the most kosher of supermarkets. The workers are not Jewish. Oh, they are very nice. They might even know how to say Shabbat Shalom or Shana Tova. But are they going home that Friday night to light candles? No. But in Israel, those shopkeepers and that cabbie are going home to light Shabbat candles. Our young adults who go on birthright come home with lasting Jewish pride and identity. And we do the same with our children, our youngest children, and our nursery schools, teaching them a song, I'm a Jewish child, and I am proud. Studies demonstrate that preschool, Jewish preschool, and birthright literally allows Jewish pride to last a lifetime. Unfortunately, the Birthright organization supports these identities even after their transformative 10-day trip with reunions and other opportunities to gather as proud Jews. Why don't we all take our own birthright? I encourage all of us to consider a trip to Israel. Even if it's your 50th time there, your spiritual cup will always get filled at your Jewish home, and you'll be able to come home a more proud Jew. But we can also be proud Jews here in America and around the world when we have Shabbat dinner together. My big fat Greek wedding shows a tight-knit and large family that bonds over a table filled with good food. Yes, they're nosy, yes, they're boisterous, but it is full of love. The rabbis understood that the food is just an avenue. It's really the getting together. But yes, we do want to enjoy a good bowl of soup, specially made perhaps by a grandparent. Whether we serve gundi or chopped liver, lentils or pizza, we have the same real symbols, candles, wine, challah, that make it Shabbat, a time for bonding. The ancient rabbis already understood that tradition is passed on from person to person in a family at the table, not in the classroom. Many of us already do Shabbat dinner, but if you don't yet, it's never too late to start. And if you are able to, help the next generation who have perhaps moved out of our houses to have Shabbat dinner on their own. Sponsor a Shabbat dinner for young adults in the city. And support Hillels that now offer free Shabbat dinners, so money is no longer a barrier. Think about it. When many of us were in college, we had to pay for our Shabbat dinner at Hillel. We also need to make sure to involve our youngest members of the community. I talked about Jewish preschool, but we know that children learn best by doing. Have them help you cook Shabbat dinner, say the Kiddush, and certainly sing songs at the table. Let's all turn Friday night lights into Shabbat candle nights, whether we are age 5 or age 85. And yes, our Jewish pride can help us combat anti-Semitism and maybe one day quell it for all. Firefighting is a good metaphor for fighting anti-Semitism. A lot of attention is paid to fire prevention, but we know we still need to have fire alarms and even firefighters because there are inevitably going to be fires. The same is true for anti-Semitism. A lot of effort is being put to prevent anti-Semitism. We start in our schools with our youngest again by teaching children of all religions and all ethnicities to love and to be upstanders, standing up for hate and bullying. ADL's No Place for Hate program, which is in our own public schools, is one of many such efforts. But there are always going to be anti-Semitic fires that we have to extinguish with our hoses, so to speak. Just like we are so fortunate to be living at a time with a strong state of Israel, we really need to acknowledge that we're fortunate to be living in a country where combating anti-Semitism is addressed at the highest level and is now even an ambassador level at the State Department. Ambassador Deborah Lipstadt's portfolio is to deploy resources, those firefighters, to quell anti-Semitism on campus, online, in our political discourse, wherever it may be found. Through her leadership, organizations like ADL, AJC, Hillel, federations, etc., have the tools to boost security and find those anti-Semitic groups that are planning violence and stop it before they act. We are truly fortunate that when at my own alma mater, University of Michigan, last week, anti-Semitic flyers were distributed just before Rosh Hashanah, clearly timed. The school president, the mayor of Ann Arbor, the director of Michigan Board of Regents, and the state governor herself all came to support the Jewish community and to condemn the anti-Semitism. We need to keep our guard up, combating hate, but we can also rest easier knowing that we have friends in high places, including the Oval Office. Speaking of POTUS, President Biden and Ambassador Lipstadt did a joint phone call before a reception for many invited guests with clergy last week to wish all of us a Shana Tova. Ambassador Lipstadt ended the call with a message that she'd like us to share, like the clergy, to share with you. So I'll share it on her behalf. Quote, I am leading the fight against anti-Semitism so we can be proud Jews in spite of anti-Semitism, not because of anti-Semitism. Please find the joy in Judaism, embrace it, and savor it. There is a famous photograph of Theodor Herzl standing there in thought, looking out at the banks of the Rhine River in Basel, Switzerland in 1896. He had just convened the first Zionist Congress. He boldly dreamed that there could be a place where Jews could live freely and be proud Jews. Im tirtzu, ein zo agada. If you will it, it is no dream. This past August, the World Zionist Congress, literally the successors of that first meeting in 1896, convened in Basel to celebrate 125 years since the first meeting. And people took turns standing there along the river in the same pose. And of course, they posted them online. What were those leaders thinking? I hope that they were dreaming like Herzl of a confident future of Judaism in Israel and in America that thrives as the 20th century moves on. As Tevye and Golda leave Anatevka to flee pogroms in the movie, Tevye notes that Jews have the Torah and the covenant that connects them in a chain of tradition back to Abraham and Sarah, to Moses and Miriam. This chain of tradition is too valuable, too strong to just allow to disappear. We need to take the steps to preserve the tradition and to be proud Jews. On this Yom Kippur, think about what makes you proud to be Jewish. We have Shabbat dinner coming up in just 2 nights. What are you going to serve for it? And when are you going to take your next trip to Israel? And then also, as we are prepared to do Yizkor, we think about those chains in the tradition closest to us who are no longer here, who might have given us our love of Judaism, even gave birth to us and gave us our name, whose seats are now vacant. We mourn that we can no longer physically touch those people, give them a hug, acknowledge the tradition that they passed on, but we take solace that their memories last. And Yizkor is the opportunity to remember our loved ones and dedicate ourselves to their values. And in that vein, we prepare to recite the Yizkor service.